Welcome back, guys. This is the King of Weaves here, and this is What If Naruto Faked His Death Part 2. Last time we left off with Haku and Naruto actually completing the second part of the exam, not killing. They actually gave advice to the Mist Shinobi to go to the Hokage and try to become Shinobi of the Leaf, which the Hokage actually allowed, as they were forced to become spies for the Mist because of the Mist's corruption. Remember, this is the bloody Mist as of right now, and during the 2 years time skip, I believe they get a new Mizukage, which is Mei. Just kind of anyway. Of course, Naruto and Haku go into the preliminaries, and here, since I will say that Kabuto's team is actually Kabuto would actually not be there. His whole team would just give up, which means that Naruto would actually take his place, and Naruto would actually fight. Naruto here would actually fight Sakura. Sakura would actually not fight Ino, and Ino would fight Haku. Yes, so both of them will go through, and the third member of their team, who was allegedly eaten by a snake, is dead. And anyways, now, of course, since there is no knockout, there will be a double knockout between the two Hyugas, and here I will cover their fight first. The double knockout that happens is basically the same exact fight, but here Hinata would become even stronger, as after Naruto's death, that was her catalyst to become even stronger. And it actually does make sense, as Naruto being the one that motivated her to be a ninja and to be as strong as him, had killed himself, and so he wanted to become even stronger. She wanted to become even stronger, and this led her to train harder and eventually surpass her original self, or the canon Hinata that we know, and was close to surpassing, of course, even Neji. But Neji knew the rotation, which gave him a massive step ahead, but just the sheer strength of Hinata made her get on Neji's level, or be on the same level as Neji, and in the end it was double knockout, as both of them could no longer fight. They were both on the floor and they were in critical conditions. Anyway, all the other fights go as per normal, and in the end, the finalists will be Akiba would actually verse Choji, so that would be another double knockout here. And anyway, the finals would be pretty much the same, except for Neji. Neji would be replaced by Haku, and Haku and Naruto would be fighting. This would be a good test of their strength, as both of them can go all out, not holding anything back. And Naruto has been wearing a mask the whole time. His mask is actually very similar to the White Death's mask, but here the scar is actually on a different side, and that's actually another mask that he has. He has both of them, but no one really knows that one. Usually, what they know as the White Death is actually the mask with the scar on the right eye. The left one is one that he only used one for his second ever mission, because he didn't like that the other one had the scar. But after this one got a scar too, he was like, you know what, I'll use the first one. And anyways, now, of course, the 1 month training would still go as per normal, and by the way, Lee, of course, still goes to the through the same exact thing that happened in the original, and he would still be in critical condition and close to never being able to fight ever again, or be a ninja ever again. And anyways, now, of course, Naruto and Haku would go off to train on their own, and during this 1 month of training, Naruto was meditating on top of a hill, and he felt a bit hungry, so he started heading down towards Ichiraka Ramen. And here, exactly like in the original, he bumps into Jiraiya. Jiraiya notices this one kid with a mask and actually stands in front of him and asks him which village he's from, and Naruto points at his headband without really talking, as he knows who this is. This is Jiraiya of the Legendary Sanin, and he doesn't really want to give away much information, so he points that out. He doesn't really want to talk to him, as if he gives out his voice, he cannot trust anyone here. And anyways, now he continues walking, but Jiraiya actually holds on, well, taps his shoulder, saying that he is one of the finalists in the Chunin exams, and he's heard that he's quite strong. And Naruto just nods, saying, implying that he's quite strong. And Jiraiya goes on to ask him, "Is he training alone?" Naruto nods again, and Jiraiya asks if his name is Naruto. Him having the suspicions that this could be Naruto, as he just had that little hunch out of nowhere, but then he realized that Naruto is dead. Of course, he just said sorry. I didn't mean that. Of course, Naruto was panicking at this point because he thought that he's been found out, but of course he realized that he must have made a mistake and actually started heading off. But then Jiraiya said, "Hey, you have blonde hair. How about you show me your face?" Naruto then turns around and deepens his voice, saying, "That's none of your information. I do not have to show my face. You have no right to make me show you who I am." Of course, Jiraiya was taken aback by this and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, but could you please show me your face? That's what I meant." Of course, Naruto says that adding "please" to his sentence won't help his case. He does not want to reveal his voice, and he will not, or not voice, sorry, face, and he will not do it. And Jiraiya says if he does, he will train him and make him into a really strong shinobi. And Naruto declines, as most of the things that Jiraiya could teach him, like the Rasengan, he already knows, and except for Fuinjutsu, which is sealing jutsu. And Jiraiya asks him one more question, why he doesn't want to be trained by a legendary Sanin. Naruto then replies by saying that he doesn't need the training, he's training on his own, and what good can he do? And Jiraiya then shows him the Rasengan, which then Naruto says, "Wow, very interesting, very interesting. Well, I can do the same thing," and pretty much creates a Rasengan, giving away a little bit of information. And of course, this he clocks this pretty quickly. And of course, when Jiraiya asked where did he learn it, and Naruto just said, "Well, I've heard many stories of the fourth Hokage, and I've seen, well, I haven't seen it, but someone told me about this jutsu, and I made some research on it, and I found out that he based on the Tail Beast Bomb. And from what I learned, the Tail Beast Bomb is literally a massive amount of condensed chakra," literally giving the same explanation that was given inside the scroll ceiling, word by word. And Jiraiya was kind of suspicious, but he didn't want to question any further, as it would just bring up suspicion, and Naruto would just leave. Of course, he wanted to learn more about Naruto, and this didn't help from, well, his Jiraiya's curiosity didn't help his case, as Naruto was getting annoyed at this point and says, "Well, just what do you want from me?" Jiraiya then actually explains that everything that happened, well, how he is Naruto's godfather and he's allowed him to die, and Naruto actually listens. And of course, Jiraiya then asks, Naruto then tells Jiraiya that if he does well in a spar, he'll become a student, as it's pretty clear that he wanted to make this Naruto his student. And of course, Jiraiya did want to make Naruto a student, and Naruto realized that him faking his death may, well, changed a lot of people's lives for the worst or for the better. Anyway, of course, Jiraiya and Naruto actually spar after eating. Yes, Naruto went to eat first, and Jiraiya was waiting because he already ate, fortunately. Otherwise, Naruto would have to eat with him, which would be quite stressful, as he would have to take off his mask. But luckily, when he went to Chiraku, he was alone and he ate in peace. No one really questioned him, and the two workers there, Tochi and Ayame, who were actually busy with work at the back. And anyways, now, and if there were new customers, they would actually ring the bell. There's a little bell this time, don't ask. Anyway, of course, Naruto then goes to the top of the hill, and Jiraiya asks him what made him change his mind. And Naruto says that he felt a bit sad for him, as he lost his godson, and he wanted to really train him, but he still feels like he could have done a better job on being a godfather, for example, being there for him when he actually needed him. Anyways, this kind of saddened Jiraiya a bit more, as he's right. This guy, this random person is right, as really he could have helped Naruto. And as per normal, sorry about the outside noises. And anyway, now of course Naruto and Jiraiya get into a fighting position, and Naruto actually attacks first. Jiraiya was expecting this kid to be pretty rash, and he thought it would be an easy win until he realizes that Naruto wasn't attacking him, and in fact, this was a clone which Naruto made instantaneously without him even noticing, and this clone turned into fog. Literally turned into fog. He pretty much puffed away into and created a thick fog which Naruto was moving around in, and he had the advantage in here. Of course, Jiraiya understood what kind of technique this was, and so he created the wind gill, or well, used the wind gill palm to actually blow some of the fog away. But Naruto wasn't within that vicinity, and he actually came behind him and was able to get a pretty good kick to, well, back a roundhouse kick to Jiraiya's face, as Naruto likes to fight fights like this, and Jiraiya was blown away outside the fog, and of course Naruto follows along with two clones, creating two different techniques, one of them holding well, a lightning like well, a Chidori-like technique, but it wasn't the Chidori. In fact, it was just lightning. And as he got closer, he literally screamed out "Lightning Prison" and created a prison out of lightning by putting his hand onto the ground, and the lightning would actually surround Jiraiya. Jiraiya couldn't move within this prison, as if he did, he would get paralyzed. And the other one actually had water release. Well, he was getting a water release jutsu, and as he got ready, Naruto, well, this other clone actually screamed out water shockwave, and as he did that, after doing the hand seals, he screamed that out, and the water shockwave actually hit Jiraiya, which electrocuted him and paralyzed him for just a second, as Jiraiya was able to, had immunity to it. And because Naruto's paralysis may be strong, but Jiraiya is just so much stronger than Naruto, and as Naruto was about to get a good punch into Jiraiya then actually poofed away, revealing it was a clone all along. And Naruto was very surprised by this. Even he didn't notice, and he actually, well, praised Jiraiya, as Jiraiya praised him too for actually being able to catch his clone off guard. But Naruto says that this isn't over, and it's not only him he's fighting, but this whole army of him. And as he says that he does the multi-chakra no jutsu, is a signature jutsu in the original, and so 1,000 Narutos come out of nowhere and literally start attacking randomly in every direction. Start attacking Jiraiya. Jiraiya creates 5 clones, which take 200 on basically each, and were able to actually fight all the clones off. And Naruto knew that this wasn't going to be enough, and so he actually goes and takes out 4 of the 5 clones, and the only two people remaining were the 2 originals. And so Naruto looks at Jiraiya, and Jiraiya looks at Naruto, and they both say that this will be the final attack. And Naruto and Jiraiya go into their fighting stances once again, and this time they both charge at each other and get into a taijutsu fight. And this taijutsu fight went on for at least a minute and a half, and here Jiraiya had the massive advantage, as just sheer strength, he was leagues ahead of Naruto, and he was getting hit after hit onto Naruto, whereas Naruto only got a few hits. But even though there were only a few, they still hurt Jiraiya. Although Jiraiya's defenses were way higher than Naruto's, the punches and kicks that Naruto landed were immensely powerful, and Jiraiya realized that Naruto has some different level of strength. And anyways, of course, he realized that he should end the fight quickly, and as he created a Rasengan, was about to smash into Naruto, but Naruto, using his new jutsu and jutsu that he developed on his own, he then says black hole, and literally absorbs the Rasengan, and their 2 palms actually meet, and Naruto then says a white hole, and pretty much the Rasengan comes out of his hand, or literally it's like a Kamui, but it's very chakra draining. In fact, it drains most of Naruto's chakra instantly and leaves just a little bit, and Naruto can't do it more than once in a fight, and of course it will become less chakra draining, but Naruto can't do it more than once, as this pretty much has a cooldown. It hurts. It's mostly physically draining, not chakra draining, as it requires a lot of strength, as a black hole could literally rip you apart, and Naruto was keeping his own body intact. And anyway, now of course using the white hole, a white hole and a black hole, if you guys don't know, it's the complete opposite. A black hole, well, eats everything around it or absorbs everything, whereas a white hole literally splurts it all out. It exerts energy, whereas the black hole takes in energy. So the black hole that Naruto used actually took in the Rasengan, and the white hole actually released the Rasengan, and Naruto added his own chakra to it and created a pretty strong Rasengan and smashed it into Jiraiya's palm, creating a pretty big explosion. Jiraiya's palm was burnt as or bruised up a bit, but Jiraiya was still standing, and Naruto was breathing heavily, and Jiraiya started applauding Naruto. He started clapping for Naruto and said that Naruto, well, this you, he addressed him as you, as he doesn't know his name. You did very well in that fight. In fact, you've impressed me a lot. If this was a Chunin exam fight, I'm pretty sure you'd defeat anyone in the Chunin exams. However, I don't know what the others are hiding or what other jutsus they could be using. And just saying, Sai just didn't pass. Sai actually, I'll say that Sai was actually versing Haku. That's why he didn't pass to the finals. And anyway, yes, I forgot to mention Haku's fight. I am very sorry. And anywho, now, of course, Jiraiya tells Naruto that he can become his student, and Naruto's pretty happy as he's going to learn under Jiraiya. And during the 2-month training, oh, not 2 month, the 1 month training, Jiraiya actually never really finds out Naruto's name. Naruto tells him that he should just address him as Mask from now on, and literally Naruto learns everything that he learned in the original, other than using the chakra of the Nantals, but to actually summon Gamabunta easily and staying on his head. And during the rest of the pretty much 4 weeks remaining, or 3 weeks, he would train mostly in Taijutsu, and how to pretty much use a little bit, just a tiny little bit of nature energy to increase his strength and every single hit that he does, each time absorbing some nature energy right before hitting the opponent. And this would actually get Naruto ready for his Seijumo training if he continues training with Jiraiya, and of course he will here and there. And anyways, now of course Naruto also wants to develop the new Rasengan, as he did tell Jiraiya that he's been adding a chakra nature to the Rasengan for the past few months, or for the past few weeks, that he's actually learnt it, and it hasn't been turning out too well. He can only do this much, as the little blades come out of the Rasengan, and it spins very rapidly, but he cannot get it any bigger, as he can't handle it. Whereas when Jiraiya tried it, at first it was about to explode, so he put less chakra in it, but after a week or two, Jiraiya was able to create a Rasengan with fairly big blades, and as he added more chakra, he was able to create a Rasen Shuriken, but he cannot contain it. And eventually Jiraiya just gave up, as he realized that he doesn't have enough time right now, and he has to leave to go on a mission, or on a spy mission. And Naruto was more than happy with Jiraiya's training, and in fact was very grateful, and actually called him master, and told him that if they meet once again outside this village, Naruto or Mask will just show his face and tell him the whole entire truth about his personality and his persona. And of course he will reveal his identity basically. And anyway, now Jiraiya tells him that that's a promise, and he will meet him again somewhere And Naruto says that he'll keep in touch as he knows the summoning jutsu, and yes, he does. And anywho, now of course now Naruto goes on to the finals of the exam, and as he was walking in, just like in the original, someone is there waiting for him. Hinata is actually there, and actually as Naruto was about to walk in really early, Hinata actually runs towards behind him and hugs him. Of course Naruto looks back and sees Hinata, and of course Hinata says that I know who you are, I know your true identity. And of course Naruto looks back perplexed and asks what's going on, what does she want from him. And Hinata says, do you not remember what you did all those years ago? And of course Naruto remembers everything that he did for Hinata. He helped her, he stopped bullies, and he helped her find a way after, I think it was Neji's father's death or funeral. She lost her way, and Naruto helped her find the way because she's never been outside her home, and she was pretty young. And anyways, of course Naruto says, just what do you want from me? And then she just says, Naruto, I know you're there, I know you're behind that mask. And Naruto sighs, and since he's a few hours early, he actually takes her somewhere else, and literally body flickers with her onto the Hokage's stone face, and sits down with her. And of course Hinata then tells Naruto to take his mask off, and Naruto does. And Naruto's changed a lot. He now has a scar on his face. Of course, he always had one, but it became a bit bigger as he actually got cut in the face at one point, and he had to kill the person because they saw his face. And anyways, now that was a broken mask. Naruto has had many white masks in the past, and anywho, now of course they talk for a while, and Hinata actually confesses to Naruto, and Naruto says that that's the first time someone's ever cared for him that much. And Hinata does mention Shikamaru and Choji. They've been training super hard to actually to actually become stronger for you, and even Sasuke. And of course he doesn't really understand why, and of course he knows that Shikamaru and Choji wanted to become his friends, but then Hinata says that they know you didn't actually die on that day. They know that you must have faked it. You didn't seem like the type to do it, and they wanted to become strong enough to go out of the village on their own to search for you one day. And of course Naruto was quite happy. A tear rolled down his cheek, and he said that she's changed his mind, and hugs her back, saying that they might need to learn more about each other one day. And of course Naruto actually returns the feelings with Hinata, and Hinata hugs him back. Of course Naruto is quite happy that Hinata actually shared this with him, and gave him some hope in life to find someone or find his soulmate. And anyways, now he then brings Hinata down and actually gives her a little kiss on the cheek, and says that he'll go to the Hokage and tell him the whole truth, as he knows that the Hokage's mindset must be in a shambles. And anyway, now he disappears from Hinata, and Hinata says, right before he does, she says that she'll be rooting for him in the Chunin exam final. Naruto then says thank you, and he puts on his mask and disappears. Of course Haku actually saw, and Haku came out of nowhere and said, you must know Naruto. And she says, yes, I do. And of course she's quite scared, but Haku just smiles, saying, and tells her not to be scared, and he won't hurt him. And of course Hinata and Haku actually talk for a little bit, and Haku's actually making friends here. And anyways, after the 2-month training, as Haku's going to verse Naruto, he's not going to let Naruto win. If Naruto's weak, he's going to win, and if he's not weak, he's going to he's going to beat him if he's stronger than him, of course, but he doesn't know yet. Anyway, of course Naruto goes to the Hokage's office and says hello, and the Hokage was very confused as another Mist Ninja is here, and he asks and he literally says, do you want to become a Leaf Shinobi as well? And Naruto says, well, do I really have to when I always was one? And of course he takes his mask off and actually laughs, saying, well, technically I wasn't, so I kinda do. And of course the Hokage jumps out of his seat to go hug Naruto, actually shedding a few tears, saying that if this is a dream, he doesn't really want to wake up anymore. And Naruto actually hugs him back, saying that he isn't. Old man, I'm still alive, and I know I've caused you a lot of trouble. Of course, he gets a bonk on his head, and the Hokage asks why, what happened, and Naruto explains everything, and the Hokage understands straight away, and says that he will keep Naruto's secret. And anyways, now Naruto tells the Hokage that he's trained with Jiraiya. Jiraiya doesn't know his true identity, but he will tell him the next time they meet, as he promised them. And anyway, of course, he tells him that he's quite strong, and he's in the bingo book as the White Mask, and he's not going to be staying in the village anymore, and well, not for now. And for now, he will return one day. And the Hokage fully understands Naruto's choices, and tells him that he's welcomed at any moment, at any time, and actually gives him a leaf headband. Of course, Naruto accepts it and asks if both Zabuza and Haku could join as well. He says that they can officially join, and even though Zabuza doesn't have to show himself, you can give him the leaf headband, and here it is. Here are all three of them. And anyways, now, of course, Naruto gives one to Haku, and they say that they will give one to Zabuza later when they meet him again. The junior exam finals begin, and both Naruto and Haku surprise the audience, or the crowd, by both showing up with two leaf headbands. Of course, this confused the crowd, as they thought these were, well, shinobi from the mist, and they turned out to be shinobi from the leaf. One of them apparently joined the leaf during this test, as he was actually, well, he was forced by the mists, Mizukage, and this kind of caused some controversy, as the Hokage is literally, this is like an act of war towards the Mizukage, but the Hokage is much stronger than the Mizukage, and they all know that, and so they weren't too worried, but they were worried for a war, and that could be quite the problem. But anyway, now the two go into their stance, and the proctor set begin, as both of them charged at each other, and they clashed with their forearms, just like Naruto and Sasuke did, and they both backflipped away. But as Haku backflipped, he actually swung his hand as if he was trying to slap a fly away. But as he does that, a sphere of ice literally tries to impale Naruto from the ground, but Naruto saw this coming from a mile away, and as it does, Naruto actually spins around it and lands on the ground, and literally breaks some of the ice off and throws it at Haku like it was some kunai. But Haku was able to literally slice it in half with his own kunai and actually throw it at Naruto, which Naruto caught, but realized that there was an explosive tag on it, and as it was about to explode, of course, Haku actually creates an ice dome to actually get Naruto in it, and the ice actually was the ice surrounded Naruto, and as it was surrounding Naruto smiled and said, "This isn't going to be enough, Haku." And as he says that, he body flickers outside of it without Haku realizing, and leaving the kunai inside there, with the explosion happening and breaking the ice. And of course, once the ice was fully broken and the smoke was out there, Naruto actually appears behind Haku, saying, "Well, that was a neat trick, wasn't it?" And Haku was quite surprised at Naruto's speed, but Haku was fast himself, and realized that Naruto wasn't joking around. His speed is immense, and it's years ahead of his, and so he decides to finish the fight fast, as he knows that Naruto will outlast him just because of his chakra reserves, and so he creates the ice mirrors. And Naruto actually chuckles to himself, saying that these are not gonna be enough to stop him. And of course, Haku is much faster here, and Naruto realizes this as soon as one of the Senbon actually hit him without him realizing, and he felt ice actually coming. He felt his arm that got hit start to freeze, and Naruto realized that he has to finish this fast, as although he took the Senbon out, this ice was different. It was an ice that was growing on him. It was eating up the heat. Haku has learned how to create ice that eats up heat, so even if he tried to increase the heat of his body, it would just the ice would just expand even faster. This was dangerous, and Naruto had to move fast. And in fact, he actually roared out literally a battle cry, and this cry actually broke some of the ice mirrors, which Haku realized, and he was actually stopped in his tracks. And Naruto found him and actually literally Rasengan him out of the ice mirror, and Naruto and Haku actually went into a little bit of Taijutsu fight, as Haku knew that if this fight could go on for just 1 more minute, he will win the fight, because Naruto won't be able to move anymore, as Naruto was fighting with one arm and 2 legs at this point. His right arm was actually out of commission, but then out of nowhere, Naruto said he's had enough. This fight has gone on for a bit too long, and he creates a clone which had his arm frozen as well for some reason. And Naruto realized that this is way too much for Naruto to handle, and this is something that he's never seen before. And he praises Haku, but he says that the fight was over from the very beginning, and Haku was confused. And then Naruto appears behind Haku and chops him on the back of the neck, and Haku couldn't even react. It was kind of an anticlimactic way to finish the fight, but Haku really wasn't able to keep up with Naruto's speed. Naruto is on a whole different level of speed. In fact, he's probably on the level of Lee after the time skip, and Naruto is the fastest ninja there pretty much. He is Jonin level. Also, Haku is Jonin level. Because of that technique, no Jonin could really fight it off unless you're a really high level or a really high tier Jonin. And anyways, now, of course, this was very, very different from what Naruto expected. But as soon as Haku actually fainted on the ground and Naruto caught him, the ice actually pretty much started melting away, and Naruto could actually feel his arm again and start moving it again. Although it was still cold, he increased the heat inside his body. Yes, he can do that. He can regulate the heat inside his body because of just the immense amount of immense mastery over fire release that he has. And anyways, now Haku and Naruto walked to the stands together, as Haku was still conscious just a little bit, and he actually let the ice melt at this point, and he knew he lost. And Haku actually lost, and Naruto was declared as the winner. The crowd went ballistic. They went crazy as they saw a very, very it was a showing of skill. This was something that they've never seen before, and many of the Jonins in the crowd thought of this as Jonin level fighting. The speed was on Jonin level. Even Guy was very impressed by the speed that Naruto and Haku showed. Of course, Naruto's speed was much more impressive, but he can see that Naruto can improve, and some of his moves were quite sloppy, as even him and Kakashi would have reacted to that one Senbon. That one Senbon could have finished the fight for him if it took a little bit longer, but he kept a cool mind, and he kept calm and knew exactly what to do, and so he was able to win the fight with smarts, with brains and strength. Brains and strength will equal to a win every time. Of course, you need to be battle ready as well. His mind was ready, he was battle ready, and he was strong enough to beat Haku, as Haku seemed to have very strong techniques. However, Naruto was able to end the fight really quickly, as he needed to, unless he wanted to lose by prolonging the fight. A few more seconds would have ended the fight for him, as half his body would have been frozen and he wouldn't be able to move anymore. Anyway, now the next fight would have been Sasuke versus Gaara. However, this got postponed as per normal. And anyway, now the rest of the fights go pretty much exactly the same until Sasuke's fight. Sasuke's fight goes a bit differently, as Sasuke is much stronger and he was dominant all the way. And in fact, even once Gaara went into his half Shukaku form, Sasuke was able to keep up just a little bit with his 3 Tomoe Sharingan and actually land a Lightning Hound, which he actually learned from Kakashi during this 1 month. And the Lightning Hound was actually able to paralyze the one side that Gaara's body wasn't covered in by Shukaku, and Sasuke was about to attack. As he thought, Gaara was fully paralyzed, but then we know what happened. He actually got punched into a stand by the Shukaku side, and then Shukaku actually started taking over the whole all over Gaara, and as he was about to transform, as he was transforming fully inside the stadium, yes, inside the stadium, as the two other siblings were actually taken care of by Naruto and Haku, and Haku saw this transformation, same as Naruto, and this actually made the Sound Four actually move out of the way, breaking the barrier, which allowed Naruto to get in. Allowed Haku to get in, as Naruto asked Haku to go help the Hokage, as Haku would be more than enough of help for the Hokage to actually take care of, Orochimaru. Naruto himself was able to take down Gaara in a battle of wits, and yes, the stadium was destroyed. The people were evacuated in time, and mostly by Naruto's clones. And although they were under the Genjutsu, and Naruto was able to headbutt his way into Gaara's heart and tell him that he's going to be his first friend. Naruto's mask was on the point of breaking, but someone very skillfully was able to take Naruto away as Naruto was falling, and also Gaara was taken away by his other two siblings who actually woke up. And of course, the person that took Naruto away was Shikamaru, and Shikamaru actually told Naruto to be more careful next time, and Naruto said, "I knew I couldn't hide my identity from you." And of course, Shikamaru just chuckled at him, or laughed a bit, and said that I would have found out anyway eventually. Anyway, how are you, Naruto? As he says that, Naruto actually laughs, saying, "Well, it doesn't seem that I'm too well, as my body's half broken right now." And Shikamaru says, "It's fine. I know a few people that can. Well, I know that you can heal yourself." And Naruto says, "It's true, I can." And that is because he saw Naruto heal himself. Yes, Naruto actually. Naruto's team and Shikamaru's team finished at the same time in the Forest of Death, and Naruto had some wounds which were visible, but they were healing at the same time, as Shikamaru was actually following them around very stealthily, and Naruto didn't actually notice it. And in the end, he was caught out by Shikamaru. And anyways, now, of course, he saw him heal, and Naruto healed himself up and actually went back to the stadium. And Shikamaru asked him why, and he said that he's not gonna let the old man die. And as he returned, he actually kicked one of the Sound Four, who actually were able to create the barrier again away. And Naruto came in and helped both Haku and the Hokage, well, take care of Orochimaru, who actually had to escape because there were too many strong people now. And anyways, now, of course, the Hokage was very grateful for these two's help and praised them. And anywho, of course, Naruto said that he'll be leaving, although he didn't get Chunin status. He's very happy to have had this experience, and he tells both Shikamaru and Hinata and Choji, who actually found out at this point, that they're his best friends, and he's really grateful for it, until Sasuke arrives out of nowhere. Although he's injured, with his injuries, he actually ran away from Sakura and says, I know you're Naruto." And as he says that, of course, Naruto looks back, saying, "Yes, I am. What do you want, Sasuke?" Sasuke actually smiles, says that, "I will become strong as you. Although you're leagues ahead of me, one day we'll be on the same level." And of course, as he says that, he faints, and Naruto just smiles and says, "Hey, you guys, can you take care of him? Don't let him die. He'll be something in the future. Friend or foe, he will be someone very useful." And anyways, he had a hunch that Sasuke would become someone extremely strong. And anyways, we now go on to the Tsunade retrieval arc, and here's Jiraiya actually goes on his own, and we'll have a little bit of a time skip. Naruto is on a mission. Jiraiya went to search for Tsunade, and during this mission, Naruto actually bumped into Jiraiya and Tsunade at the same time, as Jiraiya found Tsunade finally. Of course, the Akatsuki still came for Naruto. They didn't know about Naruto's disappearance or anything. Of course, the Hokage he told Itachi that Naruto is no longer in the village right now, but they still went anyway. And anywho, of course, Itachi didn't want to tell the Akatsuki, so they still thought that Naruto was in there. And once they didn't find him, they thought that he was outside the village. And once they didn't find him again, of course, Sasuke went to fight them, and here Jiraiya was there in that little town, and Jiraiya was able to make them run away. whereas Guy came in to get, well, of course, get Sasuke. Of course, Kakashi still got put under the Genjutsu, and anyway, now after all of this, Naruto and well, Naruto actually bumps into both of them, and Tsunade actually badmouths the third and the fourth, especially those two. And Naruto kind of gets pissed off, saying that although I am not a Leaf citizen as of right now, I'm still a Leaf Shinobi, and I will not stand for this. And as he says that, he actually calls her an old hag, and this pisses off Tsunade. And of course, they go out. Tsunade says that if he's able to actually put up a little bit of a fight, she will give him this necklace that belonged to the first Hokage. And Naruto says that although he's not a Leaf villager as of right now, he will return to the Leaf and become Hokage one day, and change the Shinobi world, and change the way the people see and until beasts. As he says that, the Naruto's eyes widen, and he says, "Brat, what do you think you're doing? Do you really think you can do that? That's a foolish dream." Of course, Naruto just laughs at the Naruto and says, "Hey you, Fox, be quiet. My dreams do not concern you. After all, you do kind of hate me, don't you?" And the Fox says that, "Who's been healing you this time?" Of course, Naruto knows that, well, the Naruto has been healing him, and Naruto says, "If you hate humans so much, why have you been doing this? I know you have some sympathy." And of course, the Naruto says, "Do you really want me to stop?" And Naruto says, "No, of course." And anyways, they have a little bit of a friendly relationship, although Naruto doesn't want to release the Narutos yet, because he knows that if he was about to fight him, he would get killed instantly. And anyways, now, of course, Naruto goes on to fight Tsunade, and here Naruto is nowhere near strong as Tsunade. If Tsunade even landed one little punch, he would probably be on the ground begging for air. And anyways, of course, Naruto knew that, and he avoided Tsunade's punches on purpose, as she was kind of drunk, which made her kind of vulnerable, but she was still on guard and she was very strong. Any of her punches, if they landed, they would do extreme amount of damage, fatal damage maybe. And anyways, Naruto was able to actually get a few good hits on Tsunade, not Hinata, Tsunade, and actually make her lose her balance, and she fell on her butt. And of course, she was confused on what just happened, and Naruto's speed alone was able to actually give him the advantage, as Tsunade didn't have the reaction time as she was drunk. And anyways, now Naruto says that he was able to beat her, although she was stronger than him, and clearly she was stronger than him. Any of the punches, if landed, they would probably kill him. Of course, Tsunade had to take the L and literally gave him the necklace, and here she actually returned to the Leaf Village as Naruto asked her, and she actually believed that Naruto would become Hokage one day, or this guy would become Hokage one day. Of course, Tsunade started heading back to the Leaf Village this day after, whereas Jiraiya said that he'll catch up within a few hours, as he wants to talk to this guy. Of course, Naruto's mission was actually no mission. He actually wanted to have a rest. He wanted to go out on his own, just chill, and he actually wanted to go to the hot springs in the town. And anyways, now this is gonna happen. And anywho, of course, Jiraiya actually found out who Naruto was, and Jiraiya's whole life, well, actually hugged Naruto, apologizing to him, kind of crying as well. And Naruto just says it's fine. He's done a lot for him after all, after what happened. And he can see that Jiraiya was remorseful and he regretted his actions, so he forgives him and tells him to keep living and become stronger, because he has a little hunch that something dangerous will happen in a few years, and it has to do with the Akatsuki, as he's been gathering some information and actually gave it to Jiraiya, which helped him quite a bit. And anyways, now Naruto would indirectly become part of Jiraiya's spy network, as he's a pretty good spy, and Naruto will no longer be in the bingo book, as he's now known as a Leaf Shinobi. And anywho, by Tsunade, the White Death became a Leaf Shinobi who was actually out for training this whole time, and he became a temporary mercenary, so he's taken out of the bingo book, although he was about to be boosted up to an S-rank Shinobi, an S-rank tier of an S-rank Shinobi. And many of the people in the bingo book, like the Akatsuki, already knew that the White Death was S-rank level, as his recent missions became much more dangerous, and During this time, he actually encountered an Akatsuki member, and the Akatsuki member wasn't able to kill him. He was actually able to escape, which gave him a status in the Akatsuki, literally saying that if you see this guy, be careful. He could actually be strong enough to kill you. And anyway, now, of course, Naruto's made a name for himself, and Inari, Tazuna, and Inari's mother actually come to the Leaf Village. Although they like the Land of Waves, they came to the Leaf Village as Naruto is literally part of their family. Zabuza and Haku moved in too, as they're literally like Naruto's uncles and Inari's masters. Of course, Naruto teaches Inari too, and so they all move into the Leaf Village. Whereas Naruto actually doesn't come yet, and he will come later on. They all moved in, whereas Naruto would remain outside the village with Jiraiya. Jiraiya did go back for a few days, and Naruto stayed at the hot springs that he wanted to, and then went back home to tell them that they'll be moving there, and they accepted it all. And of course, Naruto would go out with Jiraiya to train with him, and Tsunade was aware of this, and Sakura became Tsunade's student, and Sasuke still left the village. This time Naruto wasn't there to help out, as he was actually with his family, with Inari and them. And Sasuke was able to escape the Leaf Village, and as Shikamaru wasn't able to stop him, and so wasn't Lee. And of course, the Sound Four were killed in the process still, and because of the help of the Sand Trio and Naruto, because Naruto, of course, the Sand Trio would still help them and become, well, allies with the Leaf in the end. The Sand and the Leaf became allies, and Naruto would actually visit the Sand Village during his 2 years and a half training. During this time, Naruto would spend a lot of time bonding with Jiraiya, his godfather, and becoming stronger. And of course, I'm not going to cover this in this part, but in the next part, I will be covering the 2 year and a half training, and that's where I'm going to end off. Hope you all enjoyed it. Please take care, stay safe. This was the King of Weebs, and peace. And I might sound a bit tired, it's because I'm actually feeling sick, and this might be the last upload for this week, or maybe the next one. I'm not sure anyway. Take care, peace.